Just finished the third one for the night, boy. I'm a goddamn dizzy. Goddamn thought is what I is.
Two wrongs don't make it right. At the time, I felt that it did. I was like, she's done all this stuff to me. Like, I don't give a anymore.
She cheated on me.
What?
On a break. She did something.
That's cheating. I'm not gonna.
But it was just the dude it was with that f***ed me up, right? I never got over.
People already have this narrative because it's just hard to believe that a guy and a girl can be friends. Like, it's hard to believe that me and him or any other guy and girl can just strictly be platonic friends, okay? But nothing has ever gone on past that, ever. Me and Daryl's relationship has always been strictly, started off as business. Obviously, if you know, you know, like he put me onto YouTube, started off there, grew into a friendship, has always remained platonic. She hit me up, she reached out to me, we had a long conversation about it, things were cleared up. And rightfully so. Like, I didn't even feel any type of way when I found out when she hit me because I understood. I 100% understood. Like I said, I've been in that position. Don't make it right. At the time, I felt that it did. I was like, she's done all this stuff to me. Like, I don't give a anymore. Her ex-boyfriend, I was dating the guy. We didn't know each other. But there's a narrative that like, oh, every guy she was with, I just... Right. And that, I just want to clear that narrative up. Right. That is not true. And just like behind the scenes, there was so many things that we did to each other. Like, it just got to a point we were always on and off. Like, we were damn near in a toxic relationship.
They said Disney princesses only cry in fairy tales, but Halle Bailey's real-life heartbreak is messier than any script Hollywood could dream up. We're talking leaked texts, emergency court filings, bruises, betrayal, and a love triangle turned legal war zone, with a baby boy caught in the middle. DDG isn't just Halle's ex anymore. He's the villain in a story so toxic, even Ruby Rose is haunting the sidelines like a ghost from breakups past. And just when you think you've seen every messy angle of this saga, here comes Lala Baptiste, the alleged other woman, with a history so twisted it might just rewrite everything you thought you knew. Buckle up, because this isn't just a breakup. It's a full-blown celebrity collapse in real time. Let's get one thing straight. When Halle Bailey fell in love with DDG, she wasn't just stepping into a relationship. She was stepping into a storm. But nobody, and I mean nobody, expected that the woman who played Ariel in The Little Mermaid would one day be crying in leaked text messages, claiming she was ready to end her life over a cheating scandal that involved her newborn son, her spiraling mental health, and a man who now wants full custody. What started as speculation about DDG and influencer Lala Baptiste being too close for comfort during a so-called friend vacation in Mexico has exploded into a full-on custody battle. And the receipts, they're as heartbreaking as they are damning. It all began with a thread of leaked screenshots that appeared online. Halle, allegedly texting DDG in the middle of the night, unraveling in real time. Her words were frantic, pleading, and utterly raw. She begged him to come home. She accused him of sleeping with Lala Baptiste, someone who was not only part of their friend circle, but also connected to DDG through years of influencer history. In these messages, Halle confessed she hadn't slept, hadn't eaten, and was losing her mind. But what truly shocked fans was the line where she said she felt like giving up completely, describing suicidal thoughts, saying she can't do this anymore, and didn't want to be alive if this betrayal was real. And the worst part? DDG's alleged response wasn't comfort, wasn't concern, it was cold. He told her to calm down, said she was being dramatic, and accused her of ruining the vibe of his trip. A trip he took without her. A trip he was on with Lala. This wasn't just a private meltdown. These texts, screenshots included, were attached to DDG's emergency custody filing. That's right. He submitted them in court as proof that Halle was unstable and unfit to care for their infant son, Halo, alone. In the documents, DDG reportedly claims Halle's mental state is dangerous, that she's emotionally erratic, and that he deserves full custody to protect the child. But fans aren't buying the narrative. Because if this was about concern, why did he leave her alone in the first place? Why was she spiraling while he was partying? And why does the evidence read less like a case for custody, and more like a man using a woman's breakdown, one he may have caused, to his legal advantage? Now let's talk about the woman at the center of this meltdown, Lala Baptiste. If the name sounds familiar, it should. She's not just another IG baddie. She's been in the influencer circuit for years, known for her beauty, her brand deals, and more than a few entanglements with high-profile men. But to understand why her involvement in this situation shattered Halle's trust so completely, you have to understand the history. Lala wasn't some random girl. She was in the circle, the yacht parties, the group trips, the social media double taps. She and Halle weren't best friends, but they weren't strangers either, which is exactly what makes the betrayal feel surgical. While DDG was in Mexico, Lala was there too, and social media detectives were quick to connect the dots, matching hotel furniture in separate posts, the same pool, the same background noise, even the same group of influencers rotating in and out of Instagram stories. At first, fans gave DDG the benefit of the doubt. It's just a group trip, right? But then someone dug up footage showing Lala and DDG alone on the beach, with suspicious body language and more chemistry than you'd expect from just friends. Another eagle-eyed follower noticed that Lala was never in the same frame as Halle throughout the past year, but had been in multiple past photos with DDG. Quietly, behind the scenes, the suspicion turned into outrage. Then came Lala's response, a carefully worded, vaguely defensive Instagram story where she claimed she wasn't the villain, that not everything is what it seems, and that she'd had a private conversation with Halle about the situation. But nowhere in that message did she say the words, "I did not sleep with DDG." She didn't deny the accusation. She didn't explain the beach photo. She didn't mention the Mexico trip at all. And to those who followed Lala's career, that silence speaks volumes. What really stung fans, and what reportedly destroyed Halle, was that Lala didn't express an ounce of remorse. No apology, no clarification, just a tone-deaf attempt to play neutral while the girl who just gave birth was collapsing in emotional distress. And now, with the legal papers flying and DDG pushing for custody, people are asking the real question. Was this calculated? Because Lala has a history of mess. She was once accused of stealing rapper Lil TJ from another influencer after playing friend in public and enemy in private. That influencer? Ruby Rose, another woman who once dated DDG, and who also accused him of cheating and manipulation. The circle is tight, the timelines are blurred, and the betrayal? Devastating. When the leaked text dropped, the internet didn't just react, it split in two. Some fans rallied behind Halle, calling her a broken-hearted new mom abandoned in the most vulnerable moment of her life. Others questioned her mental state, dissecting every word of her messages like they were evidence in a trial. And in a way, they were. Halle's texts painted the portrait of a woman unraveling. Not messy, not unstable, desperate. "I'm drowning," she allegedly wrote. "You left me alone with a baby, and I can't even breathe." In another message, she told DDG she felt like she couldn't compete with women like Lala, that her body didn't feel like her own after pregnancy, that she didn't recognize the person she'd become. These weren't just cries for help. They were love letters written from the edge. But the part that really shook people? DDG's responses. Cold, robotic, at times even mocking. "You need to chill," he allegedly texted. "You always make everything about you." He brushed off her pain like it was an inconvenience. No acknowledgement of her cries. No questions about the baby. No apology. It was like two people texting from different planets. One in freefall, the other lounging poolside in Mexico. And as fans scrolled through the screenshots, many realized this wasn't just a bad boyfriend. This was emotional abandonment. But before people could even process what was happening, Ruby Rose's name came roaring back into the timeline. And if you were around in 2023, you already know why. Ruby Rose, rapper, model, and DDG's ex-girlfriend, warned us all. She was the first to call him out publicly for cheating. The first to post cryptic tweets hinting that Halle was just next. She even leaked DMs where DDG tried to link up with her behind Halle's back, despite claiming he'd changed. At the time, fans dragged Ruby mercilessly. They called her bitter, jealous, clout-chasing. But now, that bitterness reads more like survival. Back in 2023, Ruby posted a screenshot of a message allegedly from DDG asking if she was still in LA with a not-so-subtle "let's link" thrown in. When she exposed it, DDG went on a media tour, calling her crazy. His fans threatened her. His friends mocked her. And Halle? She stayed quiet, loyal, in love. And now look where we are. The same man Ruby exposed is at the center of Halle's emotional spiral, and the world is finally catching up. But here's the haunting part. Ruby hasn't said a word since the latest drama erupted. Not a tweet, not a TikTok, not even shady like. And if you know Ruby, you know silence is not her default setting. So the fact that she's gone ghost, that's not gloating. That's fear. That's trauma. That's someone who's seen the cycle play out and wants no part in reliving it. And that silence is speaking louder than any "I told you so" ever could. Because when you dig deeper, the story gets darker. Fans unearthed old tweets and photos from Ruby during her relationship with DDG. Images that hint at something far more disturbing than cheating. One now deleted post showed her with what looked like a bruise on her arm, captioned, "I've been quiet for too long." Another tweet simply said, "Emotional abuse is still abuse. Stop calling women crazy when they finally snap." At the time, people dismissed it. But now, with Halle's mental health crisis splashed across social media, those words hit different. DDG has spent the last 2 years rebranding as a family man, a YouTube mogul, a red carpet boyfriend to Disney royalty. But the glossy surface doesn't match the stories behind closed doors. 2 women, 2 timelines, the same pattern: love bombing, gaslighting, emotional withdrawal, and silence when it hurts the most. Ruby had the bruises. Halle has the texts. And fans are starting to connect the dots. What we're witnessing might not just be a messy breakup. It might be a pattern, a cycle. A man who knows how to flip the narrative and leave his partner shattered in the fallout. Halle Bailey, once America's sweetheart, is now locked in a custody war, questioning her worth and fighting to keep her child and her sanity. And the women who came before her, they're watching in silence, knowing exactly how the story ends. Just when the internet thought it had all the pieces, the leaked texts, the cheating allegations, the custody war, a deeper layer unraveled, and this time, it wasn't about DDG and Halle. It was about the other women caught in his orbit. Because the truth is this triangle, it's really a square, and a connection that ties it all together. Ruby Rose and Lala Baptiste, 2 women with their own messy, deeply personal history. Flashback to 2021, long before the DDG Halle saga, before baby rumors and viral custody docs. Ruby Rose and Lala Baptiste were the center of their own internet firestorm. At the heart of it, rapper Lil TJ, and a betrayal so petty, so calculated, it left fans stunned. At the time, Ruby was publicly linked to Lil TJ. They had flirted online, posted cryptic photos, and Ruby made it very clear she was claiming him. But then, without warning, Lil TJ popped up in a TikTok with Lala Baptiste. Fans were confused. Some thought it was a collab, maybe even staged. But then Lala doubled down. Not only was she now dating Lil TJ, she was sleeping in Ruby's leftovers and didn't seem the least bit apologetic. The internet blew up when Ruby Rose tweeted what appeared to be a direct shot at her former friend. A snake will always shed skin to hide its stripes, but it's still a snake. And if there was any doubt who she was talking about, Lala erased it completely in a now infamous IG Live, where she casually admitted to stealing Lil TJ out of revenge. Her words, "She was moving weird, so I took her man." Period. Let that sink in. Lala openly bragged about taking Ruby's man just to hurt her. And people ate it up. Petty Twitter crowned her queen. Gossip blogs called it toxic girl boss energy. But Ruby? She was heartbroken and humiliated. She tweeted, "Y'all love messy women until it's your turn. This industry is full of fake friends with real knives." And with that, she faded into silence. Now fast forward to 2025. Lala is once again at the center of another betrayal. This time with DDG. Another woman. Another friend group. Another man she may or may not have crossed the line with. And suddenly, her entire pattern is back on the table. This isn't just the other woman. This is a woman with a history. A woman who once called stealing a friend's man revenge. A woman who's always conveniently nearby when the relationship starts crumbling. A woman who admitted she and Halle had a private conversation, but offered no denial, no apology, and no accountability. Just vague, pretty words, and passive captions while chaos exploded around her. And Ruby? She's watching it all play out. The ex who was labeled bitter, the girl who got clowned for losing her man to Lala, is now watching another woman crumble in the same exact situation she once warned us about. But she's not celebrating. She's not throwing shade. She's not reposting old tweets. She's just silent, and that silence is loaded with every "I told you so" she's too tired to say out loud. Because full circle moments aren't always pretty. Sometimes they're devastating. Sometimes they reveal the pattern you begged people to see years ago. And sometimes the villain isn't the man. It's the messy women protecting him by playing friend, rival, and decoy all at once. In this saga, Lala Baptiste isn't just a pretty face in a bikini next to DDG in Mexico. She's the common denominator in 2 heartbreaks, 2 internet scandals, and 2 women who lost more than just a man. They lost their peace, their image, and their sense of safety. Ruby saw it coming. Halle's living through it. And Lala? She's still posting soft smiles and sunsets, like the house isn't burning behind her. Now we're in the present. No more speculation. No more rumors. The drama has left the group chats and entered the courtroom. Because Halle Bailey and DDG aren't just feuding over cheating, betrayal, or public embarrassment anymore. They're fighting for custody of their child, baby Halo. And the documents? They are damning. After weeks of cryptic tweets, teary TikToks, and PR silence, the legal filings finally hit the internet, and they are worse than anyone imagined. Because behind the red carpet smiles and family YouTube vlogs, Halle's court declaration paints a dark, violent picture of what she says life was really like inside that relationship. Halle is officially seeking a restraining order against DDG, claiming not only emotional distress, but physical abuse. In her petition, she attaches photos of bruises, screenshots of fights, and chilling text messages that show a woman begging for peace while trying to protect herself and her baby. She alleges that DDG's temper would snap without warning, that his words became weapons, that what the world saw on social media was a carefully crafted illusion, and behind the scenes, she was isolated, scared, and controlled. One excerpt reads, "He told me no one would believe me, that I'd look crazy if I ever spoke up. And for a long time, I believed him." She goes on to describe violent arguments, doors slammed near the baby, threats hurled during postpartum recovery, and nights where she allegedly had to lock herself in the bathroom with Halo in her arms. The bruises weren't always visible, she writes. But the trauma? It was everywhere, and she's done pretending it wasn't. In response, DDG's team moved fast, faster than fans expected. They filed an emergency custody motion, flipping the script. Now he's claiming Halle is the unstable one. He alleges she had emotional breakdowns, couldn't cope with the pressure of motherhood, and even accuses her of suicidal ideation, based on the very same text she once sent in panic and heartbreak. And here's where it gets even messier. The same text Halle sent in private, crying for help, saying she was drowning and couldn't do this alone. DDG is now using as evidence against her, turning her cries for help into legal ammunition. One of his filings reads, "The mother has expressed thoughts of self-harm in relation to our child and has demonstrated erratic behavior unfit for sole custody." Let that sink in. The messages that once made fans worry for her life are now being used to question her fitness as a mother. But the internet? Oh, the internet remembers. They've seen the bruises, the live footage of her tears, the pattern of behavior stretching back to Ruby Rose. They've seen the gaslighting, the redirection, the way DDG's team always manages to flip the narrative just in time to stay brand safe. Because while Halle is in court trying to protect herself and her baby, DDG is still uploading, still tweeting, still vlogging like none of this is happening, promoting music, making skits, laughing with his boys while the woman he once called his queen fights for her safety and her child's future. And yet, he's not invisible. The receipts are real, and they're everywhere. Social media detectives are already unpacking every inconsistency in his timeline, every deleted tweet, every private story shared with close friends only. There are fans cataloging bruises, comparing outfits from leaked screenshots to dates of public appearances. And what they're finding, it doesn't look good. One TikTok with over 2 million views breaks it down like this. He said he was in Atlanta that night, but she posted a picture in LA with bruises the same night his car was parked outside her building. You tell me what that means. Another shows side-by-side clips of DDG publicly praising Halle, then yelling at a woman off camera in a deleted vlog. That don't sound like someone just being petty. That sounds like someone trying to hide a guilty conscience. Meanwhile, Halle has gone quiet. No more soft launch photos. No more couple content. No subtle clapbacks. She's not entertaining the drama, because now it's a legal matter. One that could define the rest of her life and her child's. What started as a glamorous romance, praised as black Hollywood royalty, has crumbled into a custody case built on receipts, bruises, and trauma. And the court of public opinion? It's watching every motion, every filing, and every missed beat. Because this isn't just about who cheated, who lied, or who got caught slipping in Mexico. This is about who's telling the truth, and who's built an entire platform convincing the world they're innocent while others suffer in silence. And this time, the truth? It's under oath. And now, here we are, at the edge of the wreckage. What started as internet gossip, a few suspicious photos from a Mexican resort, some unfollowings, a couple cryptic tweets, has unraveled into something far darker. Something real. Something dangerous. This isn't just another chapter in the influencer rapper love story pipeline. This is the collapsed timeline of a young mother, a baby caught in the crossfire, and two women, Halle Bailey and Ruby Rose, who may have far more in common than they ever wanted to admit. Because behind the glamour, the followers, and the filtered family photos, we've now seen the unedited version of what was happening behind closed doors. The bruises, the gaslighting, the mental breakdowns, the screenshots that read like desperate cries from someone drowning in silence. Halle Bailey, the Disney princess, the rising star, the new mom, once idolized for her sweetness and fairy tale romance, is now the face of a real-life cautionary tale. She's not playing Ariel anymore. She's fighting for custody, fighting to be believed, fighting possibly for her life. Ruby Rose, once dismissed as bitter and jealous, is now being reevaluated. People are digging up her old tweets and finally asking, what if she wasn't just messy? What if she was warning us? The silence from Ruby now? It's not shade. It's a statement. Because sometimes when you've already screamed the truth and no one listened, all that's left is silence. And Lala Baptiste, the girl at the center of the triangle, who once bragged about stealing another woman's man for revenge, is now being re-examined too. Is she complicit? Is she just another pawn in DDG's pattern? Or was she, too, drawn into the web, only to realize too late how deep it went? But the center of this whole thing is DDG, a YouTuber turned rapper turned celebrity boyfriend turned father. A man who has branded himself as cool, calm, and calculated, who knows how to play the algorithm, drop the right vlog, drop the right song, and steer the narrative before anyone has a chance to catch up. He says he's the victim of a smear campaign, that Halle is emotional, unstable, dramatic. But we've seen the evidence now. We've read the texts. We've seen the bruises. We've heard this story before. So we ask you, is DDG, the misunderstood boyfriend, just trying to protect his child? Or is he a master manipulator whose time in the spotlight is finally cracking under the weight of his own truth? Because when you strip away the views, the brands, the captions, the streaming numbers, what's left is a baby. A little boy named Halo, caught between courtrooms and social media, between NDAs and trauma dumps, between a mother's pain and a father's PR machine. And that's not tea. That's not entertainment. That's a life. So let's stop pretending this is just another celebrity breakup. Let's stop framing this as Halle versus Lala, or Halle versus Ruby. Let's be honest about what this really is, a public unraveling of a private nightmare, and a mirror reflecting just how easily fame can mask abuse. Now it's your turn. Let the comments speak for themselves. Is DDG the real victim here, trapped by fame and false accusations? Or is this the moment his entire empire of control, manipulation, and ego begins to crumble? You decide. We'll be watching.